Okay, let's go ahead and look through the rest of the college football weekend that we haven't hit on. We obviously went in depth on Oregon, USC. Oklahoma, Missouri was one of the big games that stood out to me. Man, Oklahoma's defense, I say it every week. I'm a broken record on it. It is the best defense in the sport by a mile. It is so elite. Ahmad Hardy, the running back for Missouri, came into the game, was the best running back in the country, or certainly one of them in terms of yardage. He got pretty much completely shut down. I'll pull the box score up for you. Bo Perbula was back in this game, by the way. Hardy goes for a total of 57 yards on 17 carries. Entering this game, let me get you a stat check. Ahmad Hardy, stud, ULM transfer, had over 1,300 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns. OU shut him down. I obviously watched this game. Just everyone on the OU defense, man, it was so impressive. And the OU offense was doing nothing early. They hit that play to Satania, that crosser where he takes it 86 yards to the house. It was a nice play from Tier, but they were doing nothing like the end. I mean, it was a punt fest in Norman for the first half, and the OU defense just kept them in it. And, I would say the first quarter and a half, it felt kind of like Missouri was going to pull off an upset. It was like, oh, this OU defense or offense is doing nothing, and Bo Perbula's given them a little juice. He didn't run much. Obviously, I can't imagine how scared he must have been coming off that fractured ankle where it somehow got popped back into place and he didn't need surgery, or at least didn't need long-term surgery, and he was able to play a couple weeks later from that Vandy game when it popped out. It was gross. The guy's a stud. Came back in. This is his first game back. Takes a lot of bravery to run against Oklahoma, even when you haven't fractured your ankle a couple weeks ago. So shout out to Perbula for playing, but OU just smothered them 17-6. It was a dominant game. Their defense looks really good. They're a college football playoff contender because of their defense. And again, I love the guts that Mateer has. Absolutely love the guts that guy has. Satania, really, really, really fast slot receiver. It's kind of all they got on offense. That Jaden Ott guy for Cal, he's played in some of their games this year. Transfer from Cal. He hasn't played much. I don't know what's going on exactly. I think he was injured early in the season. He only got a couple carries at the game I was at in Norman, but it's kind of underwhelming. I thought a lot of people thought, like, damn, this guy's one of the portal prizes. Like, he might be a 1,000-yard rusher for OU this year. So that's been kind of an interesting revelation. Okay. Notre Dame at Syracuse. Notre Dame is 70. Syracuse 7. Holy cow. This was the game where Notre Dame was up 21-0 without even touching the ball on offense. They had 2 pick sixes and a special teams touchdown, 329 rushing yards. Jeremiah Love stat padding that Heisman race, 171 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Let me see Love's stats for the year, what he's up to now. So he's got 1,300 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns, plus 3 receiving touchdowns and 274 receiving yards. So he's over 1,500 all-purpose yards and 20 total touchdowns on the season. That's pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. That is pretty damn good. I'm going to need to plug my laptop in 1 second here. Excuse me. There we go. Everyone good? All right, we're good. That is pretty sweet. Jeremiah Love is the man. I know it's weird because he's been stat padding against bad teams. He ran for 220 something against USC and a couple scores. I have all the respect in the world for Fernando Mendoza and Marcel Reed. I think Marcel Reed, if you're going to bet Marcel Reed for Heisman, I would do it right now before the Texas game. He's still plus 600 to win the Heisman. I think the fact that they have Texas, and then if they beat Texas, which is a major if, but if they beat Texas, they have a tough Georgia team or Bama team in the SEC title game. Like, that's why Vegas is giving him such long odds to win the Heisman. I think they fully expect A&M to either lose on Friday or lose in the SEC title game, or both if they still make it. That's not an easy game on Friday, by the way. We will preview that. That is not an easy game. The spread's only 2.5. I was about to jump all over like Texas plus 7. Oh no, Vegas is on this. Vegas has it at Texas A&M only minus 2.5. Texas isn't even getting a field goal. Vegas has that much respect for the Longhorns, who, in my opinion, are a playoff team and should get that respect as well. It's weird about Notre Dame. They're ranked in the top 10. They've lost the only two good teams they've played, two elite teams they've played. USC's okay. Notre Dame lost to Miami, lost to A&M. Again, the A&M game they lost on the last second of the game, last play of the game, basically. It was kind of a fluky loss with their holder botching that PAT hold as well. But nonetheless, they still have 2 losses. But they're kind of the ultimate eye test team, and they look really good. I mean, they hung 70 points. I don't care. Syracuse is obviously awful, but they put 70 points up. I don't think they're going to win the Natty, but I think they're a strong team. Vandy did dominate Kentucky 45-17. K-State, Utah was wild. Utah won 51-47. K-State ran for like 400 yards, the most a Kyle Whittingham team had ever given up. I think it was 449, something like that. I watched the end of the game, watched the fourth quarter. Both teams kept scoring. There was a pick six, and then Avery Johnson eventually throws a pick to end the game. Yeah, 472 rushing yards for Kansas State. 472. Joe Jackson, 24 carries, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns. That doesn't happen. By the way, Utah is 9-2. Like, I don't think the Big 12 gets an at-large team in. I think it's just the winner of Tech BYU gets in, and BYU will get knocked out should Tech win it. It's fascinating if BYU wins that Big 12 title game, because it'd be kind of tough to leave Tech out because they have a really elite defense and they've had such a damn good season. It'd be weird to leave that Texas Tech team out, wouldn't it? Like, I'd feel odd about that. So the Big 12 is kind of fascinating. Utah's kind of lurking at 9-2, ranked number 12. Tennessee, Florida. Oh boy, Florida just bottomed out. It was 31-0, I believe, at one point. Tennessee's solid, but that was rough for Florida. They bottomed out. I had that on a different screen at the sports bar I was at. Texas beating Arkansas 52-37. Arch Manning, first player in the history of Texas to have a rushing touchdown, passing touchdown, and receiving touchdown all in the same game. He had 6 total touchdowns, 389 passing yards, 6 total touchdowns, 4 passing, 1 rushing, 1 receiving. Dude, Arch is very, very good, and he's gotten much better. He absolutely had the yips against Ohio State, no doubt about it. Damn, he's gotten good. He is really good. He is not the problem. The problem is they gave up 37 to Arkansas, who has an improved offense. Good old Bob Petrino out there, the sunglasses on and the headset. Don't think he's going to be their coach next year, but it's just funny seeing him out there in the interim role, coaching the boys up. Taylor Green, Boise transfer at QB for Arkansas. He's a threat. Arkansas was scoring a ton earlier in this game, and then Texas held him off. Anthony Hill, best player for Texas on defense, did not play in this game. They were resting him up for A&M. Arch looks great, man. And I'm going to do a segment on Texas. If they had scheduled Chattanooga instead of Ohio State, they'd be 9-2 and probably ranked number 7 right now. Should have scheduled Chattanooga, man. That's the if the committee leaves them out of the playoff, I certainly wouldn't. To me, if they beat A&M, they are absolutely a playoff team. But if they beat A&M and get left out, what the committee is telling you is to never schedule a good team ever again in the non-conference for as long as this committee is in place, and that they just haven't really watched a lot of Texas because they're getting good. Okay, they're 8-3. If they beat A&M, big if, but if they beat A&M, they go to 9-3 with 3 wins over top 15 teams. By the way, A&M, Vandy, and Oklahoma, which obviously Oklahoma's a great team. Let's see. Colorado's bottoming out. They're 42-17 loss to ASU. That's tough. Not a lot to say there. Colorado's bottomed out. A lot of people recycling Coach Prime stuff. Some funny jokes out there saying Shador's jersey did deserve to be retired because he went 13-12 at Colorado, which is a hell of an accomplishment looking at what they're doing now, which is kind of true, honestly. Minnesota almost beat Northwestern. Northwestern wins 38-35. JMU had to come back. They were down 17-10 and then 20-17. They came back, scored late to beat Washington State and Harrisonburg 24-20. I was all over Washington State plus 13.5. I loved that spread. See if anything else is notable here. USF absolutely packing up UAB 48-18. Tragic what happened at UAB this weekend. Michigan State kept it close with Iowa in Kinnick 20-17. Although sometimes 3 points feels like a big win. Nebraska got run over. at Penn State, 37-10. I didn't see any of that game other than the Katron Allen play where he runs up the middle and some dude from Nebraska hits him in the helmet and his helmet paint flies off everywhere. Katron Allen's a stud. He finished with 160 rushing yards, and Penn State absolutely packed up Nebraska. Cal Stanford caught a little bit of this game. Justin Wilcox got fired. And by the way, last game, they had a bye last week, so technically the last game they played, Cal beat Louisville, a ranked Louisville team, a good Louisville team that upset Miami at Miami earlier this year. Cal beat them 29-26 in overtime to become bowl eligible. And so you're going, all right, dude, nice. Justin Wilcox got the boys another bowl, beat a really good Louisville team. I guess it's going well. That's how much the big game means to Cal, and the fact that Justin Wilcox's trajectory has not been great. But last time out, beat Louisville, a good Louisville team in overtime, 29-26 to clinch bowl eligibility. By the way, almost beat Virginia earlier this year. Virginia's probably going to play in the ACC title game. And instead, they get embarrassed 31-10 against Stanford on the farm. And it's time to celebrate for Stanford. They only get their 4th win of the season. They're not even bowl eligible. I can't believe this, man. Cal had so much to play for. They could have gotten 8 wins this year, and maybe even 9 if they win the bowl, obviously. And instead they lose to Stanford, who was hapless, lifeless. Frank Reich was literally at a Costco when Andrew Luck called him and said, "Can you be our interim coach for the year?" That's what's going on with Stanford. Obviously, behind the scenes, Andrew Luck's probably doing a good job of building them up and trying to recruit and get the alignment, get the cultural alignment in there, set up the NIL fund and everything. Let me look at the box score here. Stanford's QB, Elijah Brown. Don't know him. Don't think he's been their QB this whole year because Ben Goldbranson was their QB most of the year. 10 of 20, 123 yards, 1 touchdown. Micah Ford, 29 carries, 150 yards and a touchdown. That's what Stanford did. Cal couldn't run it. 12 total rushing yards. Their starting running back had 47, and then you account for sack totals. JKS, 269 yards. It's so weird with JKS, man. I swear he's a good player. I think he is a really good player. He's really accurate. Obviously, he's a true freshman, has a massive arm, and is really accurate. But he has had some clunkers this year. And I will say, a lot of games I've watched, he's put balls on the money, and Cal's receivers have just dropped him. But he also threw a pick 6 to lose to Virginia. I think he's forcing it, given Cal doesn't have a ton of talent at receiver. But it's a tough loss, man. Washington runs it up on UCLA 48-14. That game was not close. Washington, they've got 2 dominant wins. Granted, it's UCLA and Purdue, but they're coming in with some momentum after that embarrassing loss to Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. They'll host Oregon with a little momentum there. And then San Diego State did catch this. They beat San Jose State 25-3. San Diego State is more Navy than Navy. San Diego State's quarterback completed 8 passes in this game. They ran it 44 times. They played field position. It's like watching Iowa or Navy. Okay. And by the way, Navy now runs an exciting shotgun spread triple option offense. Navy's really exciting to watch now. It's not a boring triple option anymore. And San Diego State is even more boring than a traditional triple option. All they do is just hand the ball off at the middle. They run I form. They try to quick whip pass it out, some screen passes every now and then. There's no explosiveness to the offense, but they play ball control. It's on natural grass. As Sean Lewis likes to say, we bullied him out there. He said that after the Boise game when Boise was playing a walk-on at QB. Respect San Diego State, man. I put it in the blog. They're a covering machine. It was 12.5. They covered that easily. They won by 22. Final score 25-3. The under was an easy hit. The over-under was in the low 40s. Total here of 28. I was watching it late. They were up 18-3. They had the ball at the 38 of San Jose State in the fourth quarter. And it was a 4th and 1. It's dude, just get 1 yard and you can kind of ice the game with this drive. They punted it. They punted the ball inside the San Jose State 40. Up two scores, by the way. Up 2 scores. San Jose State was on their backup quarterback. Their starter was on crutches. It was one of those games where San Diego State's got a very good defense. But you could tell they were San Jose State, you have no shot to move the ball on us. So that was that. It's always a fun San Diego State game. They're going to hit the under in all likelihood, and they're going to cover in all likelihood. They've been a covering machine this year. By the way, their final game of the season at New Mexico. Little sketchier when they're away from home on the covers. Listen to the opponent's points scored at San Diego State this year. Stony Brook, 0. Cal, 0. Colorado State, 24. That was a weird game. San Diego State blew them out, and there were some late scores there. Wyoming, 7. Boise, 7. San Jose State, 3. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in 6 home games, they've played 6 home games. In 5 of them, the opponents have either scored 0, 3, or 7. It's a dominant defense, baby. San Diego State's got a dominant defense. All right, let's keep it moving and do some Texas talk, and then look at some early point spreads for next week.